Lisa here, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my monthly favorites. So I try to put this video out each and every month and I talk about a whole bunch of different categories of things that I kept track of throughout the month, and I tell you my favorite things. Included in there is decks, but there's also a lot of random non-tarot and witchy related stuff. So I will try to, at the end of this video, remember to put timestamps down below so you can jump to the categories that most interest you if that is how you like to watch these sorts of videos. If you like monthly favorites videos, please remember to thumbs up this video and don't forget to subscribe if you're new here so that you don't miss any of my future videos. So moving along, I have so much to talk about, so this is probably going to be long. I'm just going to get a drink right now because talking. So I hope you guys all had a really good month. December is always a really crazy busy month and there's always a lot going on. And this month really started out with a bang because I started out, so I'll talk about YouTube first. That sounds good. I'll talk about YouTube first. So I started out this month by driving out to Chilliwack, which is a little bit of a distance, not long, maybe like an hour and a bit, out from where I live to visit Jess at Stellar Tarot. And we did a collab, so we did a video on my channel about witch tips for beginner witches and tools and things like that, and then we did a video on her channel about dust collector decks, and that was really super fun. So it's definitely one of my top YouTube favorites for the month, was doing that collab. It was my first ever collab. I thought it was a blast. I really enjoy like melding different things together, and it was really fun to do more witchy on my side and more tarot on her side, and it was a lot of fun. So definitely that's the top. Also at the top, I had to look down. Okay, so the other thing that was really super fun this month was participating in Yule Fest. So Yule Fest was a set of videos designed to go from evening to morning to sort of as a vigil for the winter solstice for Yule. And that was hosted by Jennifer, Willowin the Thrifty Witch, and Matt of the Conjurer's Table. And they sort of coordinated to put this whole thing together. And I did a time slot where I went live in my snowman onesie with Peggy, and we did fun holiday Mad Libs, and we drew a winner for a small little giveaway that we had done, and it was just a lot of fun. Like, I was drinking wine and we were all relaxed and everybody was laughing, and it was a really, really fun time, and I would totally consider doing something similar like that again next Yule, because that was a really fun way to sort of raise the vibration of the evening. It's the longest night, and it was so cool. So I really enjoyed doing that. And lastly, I wanted to shout out to Nina at Sheffel Tarot, who has been putting out a beautiful little series on the runes, which is extremely digestible, concise, but really informative. So she's been putting out a video one at a time on each rune, and I think we're into 3 or 4 of them at least by now, and she's putting them in a playlist. I will link the playlist down below or in the cards, depending on, like, you're only allowed so many cards in a video, so I'll put it wherever. But I'll put it out so that you can get to it, because if you're interested in learning about the runes, it's such a cool little like introductory style series that I think it's really helpful. I have not worked with runes, I do not own a set of runes, and I've been really eating up these videos as an introduction, and I feel like if I ever get a set of runes, which I'm sure I will, because hello, I like buying stuff, then I will go right back to that playlist and refresh myself so that I can start working with them. It's not often I think you stumble on really well done, succinct, good information that's really beginner friendly but also useful to people who have some history and some knowledge. I just think Nina's doing a beautiful job with it, so definitely check that out. Let's see, that is it for YouTube favorites. For what I've got written down, if you see me over here, it's because I've got my bullet journal with my notes. Let's look at, okay, let's talk about randoms next, since it kind of ties in. So 2 things that I want to talk about. So one is my squishy poop. Squishy poop. So for Christmas this year, my family, Peggy and me and the 2 boys, man kids, and John, the eldest man kids, I almost threw my poop. Don't throw your poop, folks. Anyways, John's girlfriend, Kim, all came over, and we did a really casual but really fun sort of white elephant gift exchange. And the deal with the gift exchange was that everybody had to spend like $20 or less. Yes, $20 or less on 3 gifts total. So you couldn't spend 20 each gift. That'd be like $20 total for 3 gifts at the most. And so we all brought 3 gifts. There was a few extras in there, but we all brought 3 gifts minimum. Wrapped them up, threw them under the tree, and then people could pick stuff and we could trade and all this other stuff. This was actually one of the things that I bought. partly with Peggy in mind, but it's like a poop emoji. He's got like a little happy face. Do you see his little happy face? And it's got little purple glitter all over it. It's actually really super cute. And this is gonna seem so bizarre, but it smells exactly like grape bubblegum. So I've just been sniffing the poop nonstop. And of course this cracks Peggy up. So yes, this is one of my favorites. I have a little mini squishy collection. I will show them on this channel eventually somehow, but they're a great little fidget toy. They're just really soft, and you squish them and then they expand, and then you squish them again, then they expand. So this has been sitting by my computer desk. And oh, sorry, I brought this. I picked something else, and then I think I traded for this. I can't remember what I traded. Probably chocolate. There was a lot of chocolate. But anyways, I think it's so cute. Anyways, that's one of my little random favorites. I know, silly and ridiculous, but so much fun. The other thing is that when I went out to see Jess at Stellar Tarot, before I went out, I noticed that on her Etsy shop, she had some prayer beads. She's got some really beautiful hand-strung prayer beads on her shop, or she did the last time I looked. She's got several that are for like the Dark Goddess for the Morgan. And I saw these unicorn prayer beads, and these just caught my eye. I didn't have any prayer beads, but there was like a little unicorn charm at one end, and then there's this really adorable little like sparkly unicorn charm at the other end, and then just really lovely colors. Like, she chose really well the beads for this, and I just thought this would be really neat to have. And I sat it on my altar and I charged it for a bit on a peace sigil, and I did some working with it. And what I've done is I have this little melamine bowl that I got for really cheap at a grocery store. It looks like stone, but it's like melamine. And I have one of my favorite crystals is this golden healer crystal that I got from Reflections bookstore down the street. And so I keep that in the bowl, and I keep these beads in with this golden healer. And this sits by my bed. And what I did was I wrote 4 power phrases because this has 4 sections of beads. So there's 6 beads in each section, and there are 4 sections. And so I wrote 4 power phrases, and I work my way from the unicorn to the rainbow when I'm working with these, and I just repeat them to myself, and they're all affirmative affirmation style phrases. So the first one is I am loved and I am safe. The second one is I am calm and full of peace. The third one is I am whole and I am unbroken. And the fourth one is I am worthy and unafraid. And I wrote these with my glass fountain pen, and I keep it underneath the dish, sort of as a charging kind of thing. But I repeat those phrases with these beads right before bed, and it's been a really calming little bedtime ritual. It's been a really soothing and self-care related thing to do. So I've been really, really enjoying that. So that is one of my random favorites this month, is the unicorn prayer beads. The other one was the squishy poop. Randoms. Okay, another category. Memories, because last time I almost forgot. So my favorite memory for this month is that Bruno has his cone off. He's had his cone off now full-time for several days. He is doing great. He just went in for his checkup. Everything surgically went really, really well. He was textbook perfect. I'm really super grateful because that is not always the case, and he has done just so well. He's been really good with the regimen of drops. We're down to, I think, only 3. There's 3 drops. We're down to 2 of them are twice a day. One of them is now only once a day, and of those 2 that are left, 2 are being discontinued before our next appointment. But he's been so good, and his vision is so good. Bruno, do you want a treat? I'm going to bring him on if he comes. Bruno, you want a treat? Here he is. Hi, buddy. Come here. Ready? Oh, okay. You want to show people how good your vision is? Want to show? 1, 2, 3. Oh, he almost got it, but that's really close. Usually he's a little distance away, but he can totally catch his treats in the air again. His vision is so good. And he's my good boy, and I'm so happy that he can see again. It's just amazing. So he can see just as well, if not better, than he could before. He can go back to catching flies in the air, and it's a really happy thing. Getting him the surgery was a really good decision, and I don't regret it for a second. And just that he's, getting back to a normal schedule with his drops, it's my favorite. It's my favorite memory of the whole month. Oh, he's still staring at the treat bag. Yes, he's a diabetic, but these are beef liver treats. So there's a story behind these treats too, actually. So one of my yoga students, actually, right after he had his surgery, I came into my class the next time, and there was a little gift bag with these diabetic-friendly dog treats, and there was a card just for Bruno because he'd had surgery, and it was like a get well soon kind of thing. It was the sweetest thing. Like, who gets your dog a get well soon card? But she totally did, and it was fantastic. So that's my favorite memory of the month. You know, no cone. We can pet his face again. It's just fantastic. Power snuggling. Can you tell he's into it? He's like, no, man, just give me more food. Anyway, totally a favorite. Let's see. Movies and TV and stuff. Okay, so movies is still The Greatest Showman. Like, still. It's December now. Still the favorite. I watched it 2 times this month, I'm pretty sure. And also all the YouTube videos, if you look up the video, I can't remember the actress's name. I'm totally spacing. It's like something Kian, the musician, I can't talk. The singer that sings This Is Me from The Greatest Showman, if you look up the sort of green light performance, John shared this with us over Christmas time. And when she was auditioning the song, not to get the part, but auditioning it to get the movie greenlit by producers and by, you know, movie staff or whatever, she just had this really cool breakout moment, and it just makes me bawl, and it makes my child bawl, and it's so good. It made Peggy bawl, like we were all bawling. That movie is just really powerful. It's like all about all the things that I'm really passionate about. I keep listening to the soundtrack. When I'm not listening to the soundtrack, I've got the soundtrack in my head. Still a favorite. Probably going to watch it again before the month is over. And it's the 28th? 29th. It's the 29th when I'm filming this. So, yeah, there's that. Also, I watched a ton of cheesy Christmas movies, all Netflix originals for the most part, in the few days leading up to Christmas. And I stumbled on, and I hadn't seen it before, The Holiday with Cameron Diaz and, from Titanic, I wrote it down, Kate Winslet. I'm the worst with actor and actress names, but yeah, Kate Winslet and Cameron Diaz. That was a really cute movie, and I really enjoyed the heck out of that one, so that was my favorite. So those are probably the 2 TV things. I'm currently watching on YouTube a series that's super dark and creepy called You, and it's creepy. I think it's brand new, and I'm several episodes in, and that one's got me pretty hooked. So we'll see. Let's talk about books. So, firstly, I want to talk about... Do I have more than one book? Oh, yes. Okay, that's what it was. First, I wanted to talk about Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. I have been reading those on my Kindle. I've really been enjoying them. I've had this weird habit, though, of reading it right before bed. And if I hadn't read them ever all the way through, and I'm nearly done with The Looking Glass, it's been really slow for me. But partly because the story is very intangible. It's very dreamlike. It's very curious. But it kind of, reading it right before bed, I have like the coolest dreams, so I suppose there's that. I am enjoying it. It's almost like it's hard for me to focus on, and I don't know if that's because the story itself is so winding and all over the place that I think sometimes my attention drifts as I'm reading it, which is not a good or a bad thing. I think it's just really a different reading experience, and it's definitely a memorable one, so it's up there in my favorites for sure. If for no other reason, then that it has been a really unique reading experience. And then also, this is probably the most exciting, is Cauldron came in. So this was a book I backed on Kickstarter. This is by Emily Hare, and it is an art book, but there is, and it's signed, of course, by the author, artist, and this is such a neat book. So Emily Hare's art style is really fantastic. She does fantasy art, and what's neat is that this art book is all themed around magic and witches. So I'll show you a few pages here. So like, and there's writing to accompany, right? So here is the page on the Peeping Hullabaloo, and a whole write-up about who the Peeping Hullabaloo is and what he's all about. I'll show you one of my favorites in here. I might do a full walkthrough of this book. If this is something you're interested in, definitely comment down below and let me know. Oh, here she is. So she is probably one of my favorites. Alfred the Seer. She just has such a mysterious and like old world sort of witchy vibe, and there's a whole big page on her as well. This book, Smells really good. And there's like this metallic cauldron on the title and then on the spine as well. But it's just full of art, and it's just really enjoyable for me to look at and sink into. It's really lovely, and it's kind of transportive. It takes me to another world as well. So this has been really enjoyable. I've definitely gone through the whole thing. I love it. Really, really pleased that I backed this. I've never backed a book on Kickstarter before. It's only ever been decks. And this was kind of different. Somebody actually, and I wish I could remember who, if you are the one, definitely out yourself down below if you're down for that. But somebody tagged me on Instagram in this, and I had no idea this artist even existed. I had no idea this book existed. This is actually her second art book. And I backed it like in a heartbeat, and I've never been so quick to back a non-deck before. I'm hearing a dog bark, and I don't think it's mine. Pretty sure it's not mine. Might be outside. Anyways, that one. So Alice in Wonderland and this are the two books that I really, really wanted to talk about. Other favorites. Okay, so that's books. Let's see. So we've done books. We've done YouTube, TV movies, memories, randoms, magic. Let's talk about magic. So this is a new category. I just made it up. There were two really cool experiences I had this month around magic. One was the... I'm not going to get into like specific details, but I did a ritual for somebody else, and it's the first time I've done that in a very long time. But I was really moved to do that. It kind of came about sort of in a synchronistic sort of way for me personally, where I was really called to do some work around healing for somebody and some support. And it was a really amazing experience to pull from my own inner knowing, craft my own magic, and no dogma, no rules, just like what felt right, and go with it. And it turned out to be probably one of the most powerful workings I've ever done. It was really incredible, and it was a really memorable experience, and I've done a fair amount of journaling about it as a result, because it was very empowering on a number of levels too. And this is something that I knew was coming up for me after Samhain, was I really felt a shift at Samhain of moving into carving my own path and being pulled more into a type of working with magic and spell work that is much less dogmatic than anything I've ever done in the past, and is much more really even grittier, I think, in a way than what I've done before, and also very authentic and personal. So this was just an example that I got to really flex. I know I'm stammering, but I'm just trying to think of the right words, but I really got to flex that new muscle, and it just felt really good. So that was really exciting. The other thing was that in my Witch's Moon subscription box for December, the theme was Nature's Guardian Spirit, and we got these really he's upside down. These really stunning nature guardians. I still need to hang him. He's definitely going to be hung. But this was a favorite this month. This has a really strong impact on me for a number of reasons, but I had to talk about it as a favorite. And I was like, what better category than magic? Because he feels pretty potent to me. So definitely a favorite. Cannot wait to hang him. And he's got a bit of a platform or a space on top where I could see myself charging specific items that I want this sort of energy in. So that's very exciting. I have already done some work with him in ritual and around sort of dedicating and anointing him and all that good stuff. So love, love, love. We will get into food. Okay, two things food-wise I want to talk about. Number one, hot buttered rum, which is a favorite for holidays. Actually, I'm going to make some of that this evening because yum. It is a batter that is made out of all kinds of delicious and decadent things like butter, vanilla ice cream, sugars. I've got a link to the recipe actually in the Yule Fest video live that I did with Peggy. If I think about it, I will link to that Yule Fest video. If I linked to that Yule Fest video earlier in this video, that was a lot of videos in one sentence, you can find it there. The link to the recipe is on that video. But it is delicious, it is super easy, and you basically just put a scoop of this stuff in a mug, pour some boiling hot water over it and a little splash of rum, and it is so good. And I've been putting Kraken really dark spiced rum in it, and it is yummy. So that's a favorite. Also, Peggy made these like really delicious honey garlic ribs this month. They were so good. They were like little bites. What do you call those? I don't cook. Short rib things. And she like just cooked them in the honey garlic, and it was to die for, and I cannot wait to eat it again. They were falling off the bone. It was so yummy. So yummy. So those are my two food favorites this month. What do I have left? Oh, decks. Decks would be good. Oh, wait, right before decks. Self-care stuff. So the two things that I've been enjoying from a self-care perspective this month the most is getting back into my coloring, making time for coloring. Coloring is something that I really enjoy doing. I have really nice supplies. I enjoy blending and playing and putting color on things. And the last week, because I was working with the Spirit Keepers Tarot over the last week in December, I have been enjoying doing some coloring in the Book of Maps. So I colored some daily draws. So I colored the Memory Keeper card. This was so much fun to color with the little baby phoenix and little baby dragon. And I also colored the High Priestess. And I colored the Archangel of Healing. Yeah. And this was fun too. I really liked coloring the fish. That's probably one of my favorite things on the page to color was the little fish. And the ingredients in the bottles. And figuring out how to color the bottles. And also the skin tone. Basically, I really like doing it all. And pretty much how coloring looks for me is that I decide kind of what I want something to look like. Whether I want it to look like a glass bottle or I want it to look like gold or whatever it may be. Or a particular type of skin tone. And then I Google colored pencils space glass bottles. Or colored pencils space black hair. And then I look up what kind of colors and sort of blending techniques I can use to make it look the way I want it to look. And so it's constantly a learning process as well. I love coloring. So this has been kind of fun. I think I'm going to be doing quite a bit of coloring in this book between January and March when I'm studying with the Secret Keepers Tarot. But that's a self-care thing that I'm really happy to have back in my routine. And then also the other thing, this is kind of a combo deal. So in the October Witch's Moon box, we got a beautiful glass dip fountain pen. It's got the little silicone tip cover on the tip, but it has got like some spirals up there. And then a set of inks. And I also purchased, and an anointing oil that is got Thoth energy in it to sort of help with writing. And as well, I purchased a bottle of inexpensive India ink, like just a dip pen ink. And it came with inks, but I was trying to like conserve those. I don't know if I'm going to still do that. I had also purchased the book, The Great Work. This is by Tiffany Lazick. Tiffany is somebody who I knew of from a former circle that I used to work with quite some time ago. And I didn't realize she'd put out a book because I've been out of touch. And I was so excited to see she'd done this. I knew it was going to be good. When Simon talked about it, I was like, oh my God. And I immediately went and got it. And this actually has daily writing prompts in it. So for each day of the week, and it works through the whole year. There's more to it than that, but I've started, this is all this to say, I've started a new pretty much nightly ritual where I look up that particular writing prompt. I have this fancy notebook that I used to never use because it was too precious. And what I have done is I use my dip pen. So I started on Yule. I use my dip pen, I use my ink, and I actually write old school cursive, and I fill out a page for each, and I don't necessarily always write a lot. The pages are small and I need a lot of space to write with this pen, but I use this pen, I dip in ink, I use the Thoth oil, I make it sort of a ritual, like a mini bedtime ritual, and this has been really, really good for self-care, so I've been really enjoying doing that. And that brings us to decks, and we're at 23 minutes. We might just do this, folks. So, decks I want to talk about this month. So first, the decks that I worked with this month that really surprised me in an amazing, wonderful way was the Moonchild Tarot. I have not had as much luck connecting with Starchild yet, but Moonchild was such a wonderful deck to work with. I did live readings with this deck here on my YouTube channel. I found that it was very easy to read. The card imagery really works. It doesn't feel too distant or too cool or too high vibe for me to get really good practical information out of the readings. Love the art, love the coloring, love the backs, love the size, love the matte gold gilding. The production quality in this deck is amazing, as I'm sure you've heard. The guidebook is incredible. I have read the whole thing. It's real good. And there's a lot of really good information. It's full color, which is also really nice for like a deck-sized guidebook. And Peggy made me a stunning bag to go with it. So all in all, this has been a huge favorite for December. I think this was one of the first decks I worked with this month. No, it was the second. Oh, and I didn't bring it out to share. Shoot, I meant to grab it, but I didn't grab it. I have shown it in another video, but Probably my most exciting deck of the entire month was actually the Brady Tarot. I can't believe I didn't pull it out. How rude. The Brady Tarot completely blew me away. So good. You can hear me rave about it in my weekly deck review where I talk about the Brady Tarot. I worked with it the very first week of December. I worked with this the second week of December. And the Brady Tarot, easily in my top 5 right now of all of my tarot decks. Really good, strong, balanced, fantastic keywords, really good information about nature and the elements, and I learned a lot through the deck. The guidebook is written by Rachel Pollack. It's a stunning piece of work. The texture on the cards is like this velvety, rose petally matte feel. And I'm pretty sure it's not like official because I don't have the other deck, but I'm pretty sure it's the same card stock as the True Black Tarot, which I don't own. But that velvety kind of water resistant matte, just loveliness. It's beautiful. I'm sorry I didn't bring it to show you, but it is in that other video, and I will definitely link that so that you can see it. And also a really wonderful deck for me this month has been the Angels and Ancestors. I worked with this very past week. I loved this deck. This was amazing to work with. I was so excited to have this. This was actually an early Christmas gift from my big sister, and it is incredible. It is so good. I edged this deck in matte gold. I won't talk about it too much because I literally just talked about it in my weekly deck reviews. But this is so good. And if you want to hear my detailed thoughts on it, definitely check out my weekly deck review where I talked about working with this deck. But so good. The artist is Lily Moses and the author is Kyle Gray. So good. Definitely worth buying if you enjoy oracles, I should say. Because if you don't enjoy oracles, you won't like this one. But if you enjoy oracles, this is a good one. Finally, I want to give a nod to my lovely Guardian Tarot. So this is a deck. It's in a beautiful bag, isn't it? I accidentally tied the bag shut. I don't know why I did that. I don't normally. Anyway, this is in one of those really cool boxes where it opens like this, which is really nice. This deck is a deck you either, I think, like or don't like. And I don't know what to say about it because really, I didn't like it when I saw images of it online. It's got quite a bit of gloss, so sorry for the reflect. But a lot of people call this the creepy, like, eyeless tree people deck. But really, like, trees, it just, I ran out of my words. This is a deck I only use for myself. It's very much a self-care deck. It's very much a self-love deck. It is a deck that I feel like it's talking to me directly. It's for me. It's speaking to me. It's helping me. It's looking after me. That's the kind of energy I get from this deck when I read with it. It is very loving, very nurturing, very healing. And I'm pulling this out to talk about now because I used this deck to do my year ahead for 2019. I've also edged this deck in a blue that matches one of the blues that you see here. I did my 2019 year ahead spread with this deck and it was really powerful, so I will have these sitting on my altar, like whatever monthly card, sitting on my altar each month through 2019. And also I feel like these two things like just go really good together. So I may, we'll see, it just barely might fit. I may, once this is on the wall, I may store this deck on top. I don't know, that might be weird. I don't know, we'll see. But definitely I really love how those two have similar energies to me. So I really like that. So that is it, you guys. Those are all of my decks. I'm just making sure I didn't forget anything. Yep. Those are all of my decks, all of my memories, all of my good self-care stuff, everything. And I had a really great December. I hope you had a great December too. If you make these kinds of videos, definitely let me know down below. Share a link with me because I love watching monthly favorites videos. If you don't have a YouTube, that's totally cool. Like, you can totally be just as much a part of this community. I actually thought for a long time before I started my channel that if I wasn't making videos, I shouldn't really be saying anything, which is silly. You guys, it's really cool to interact with you all, and I really enjoy it. So I would love to hear what some of your favorites for the month were down below. Maybe your favorite movie or your favorite deck. Just pick something or share them all. I mean, every category. I'm so down for it. And I hope you guys have a really fantastic January and a very happy new year, and I will see you all again very soon.